All right, hopefully this, I just have my hand as my selfie stick, my arm, I guess. So anyway, Jeremy here, partsbreakers.com, Jeeps Unlimited. And we just got through with a nice vacation in Hawaii. Feeling pretty good. We spent a couple days in Vegas with my sister-in-law. That's where we're at right now. And as a small business owner, I've been doing this for 18 years. The hustle is never lost, even for the owners. And while we were gone, we had a guy quit on us. No call. It actually seems to happen almost every time we go anywhere, which is part of the reason we never leave to go anywhere. But anyway, it still worked out. We had a couple good guys hold down the fort. So anyway, I picked up a Jeep Wrangler YJ. Well, what's left of it. Guy was doing a 6-cylinder swap and found a good deal on on one. He had a 4-cylinder, which is what's in here now. Pulled off. And that's actually a great way to go, because you do have to change some things from going from 4 to 6. It's a little more involved than people think, but nonetheless, I want to show you something. We get calls about this all the time, whether we sell them or somebody else sells them, and it's not easy to explain over the phone, but I always think better to do in video. So you know, I had a guy ask me yesterday, you know, why don't you just go, scream in the background, sorry, but you know, why don't you just go on vacation and not turn the lights off, shut the phones down, and go? And I love to do that, but honestly, it's really not in me. And second off, it's really not completely possible. Maybe somewhat. We have done it in the past, and we can offset our payroll a little bit that way, but it really doesn't. So anyway, my point is saying that is that, you know, even on vacation, we're delivering parts and picking up parts, or, you know, whatever, buying stuff we can. So this is, obviously I'm in Las Vegas, like I mentioned, so it's a beautiful tub. As far as rust goes, there's absolutely none. It's got a little bit of body damage on the rear here, which if any place I'd have body damage, it would be right there, because it's super easy to fix those corners. The areas that love to rust out in the East Coast guys, these guys here, all the torque pockets are out of it. Actually, right now there's only 2 holding it down because the tub's been already pulled. So I've actually seen this tub, but this is an area that normally can't see because there's a liner in here, so there's not a bit of rust up into there. And then the torque pocket's super clean here. So I'm actually making this video for 2 reasons. One, I'm selling this tub, obviously, so it's a little bit of a marketing for that. But the main reason I'm making this video is to show you what happens when you buy a set of doors. You bought a set of full doors, bought them online, bought them locally, doesn't really matter. Get them back to your house. And I bought these doors while I was in Vegas as well. And they got a couple little dings, but there's no rust. Again, something that we really look for. So you got it back to your house, garage, whatever, and you're super excited to have full doors finally, or half doors even, because the same trick works for half doors. Go to put them on and immediately frustrated. Immediately think somebody sold you the wrong thing, you got ripped off, yada, yada, yada. Don't jump to those conclusions yet. I don't speak for the sellers you bought them from. I mean, there's a possibility that did happen, but more than likely it's something you're just overlooking, and that's what I wanted to show you here. So it's a super easy thing, but I'm on the road right now and I don't have my full tools, and we have a tool back at home we call a woodpecker, and that, if you have one, if you don't, they're super cheap. You do need a compressor and a air gun to use them. So I can give you some details. You can call me, ask me about that sometime, 303-666-9020, and that'll patch you through to either myself, my wife, or one of our sales guys. Just tell them, hey, you're looking to install some doors and you have some questions, and if they can't answer it for you, just ask them for the owner. And if I'm available, or you might get sent to my inbox, that takes a little while sometimes. But anyway, without further ado, so I mean that because when I'm on the road, I don't have a woodpecker, and I caution you to do this without one, unless you've bought your doors from a rust-free area. Basically, anything west of Colorado, we usually consider rust-free. It's not always the case, but most of the time. I usually always consider Arizona, Nevada, not all of California, but some of California, to be rust-free, and there's a handful of other states as well. But so if you know you don't have any rust you're dealing with, then you can probably do this without a woodpecker. It is nicer to have a extension, not an extension on your actual drive here, but an extension for the handle, or a longer handle to begin with. What I had was this is it, so short one. So you do need to caution. I would suggest having at least one, but maybe a couple of T40s, because these things break real easily. And then if you have access to a small impact, this door is obviously the reason I'm doing this video. It's not latching right now, so then that's great. But don't use this in the beginning. This is absolutely for the very end, okay? If you want a sheer way to cause yourself a lot of grief, use an impact in the very beginning, especially a bigger one, because you'll break likely the end of that guy off, which you might have a replacement for, which would be great. Or worse, you will strip these guys out, and then you'll really like the life because you'll be drilling them out, extracting them, and really they take like a full dismantle to extract bolts out, especially if you don't drill them out right. There are some tricks to that as well. Okay, so what you need to do, essentially, you put them on, and what's happening is everything looks great, right? Should be fine. You go to close it, and do not slam these doors when you first do it. You need a nice, I'm up on a trailer, so it's kind of nice, but look and see that right there? You see the striker pin, and you see the latch assembly? It's kind of blurry. Let me see. There we go. Okay, it's not aligned up, and it will not. You can slam this door, and you might get it to close, but it ain't gonna like it, and likely you're gonna jam it and get stuck. So don't do that. Okay, just to breathe. Just know that there's a simple explanation here. So these doors and this tub, back in the day, everything wasn't perfect off the assembly line. I'm only speculating this is what happened. And doors hang differently on every single Jeep. Occasionally we'll look out and they'll slide on and they'll close perfectly. And that's great when it happens, but a lot of times it doesn't happen. So, all right, so I'm gonna have to put the phone down for this, but I wanna show you what I'm doing, okay? Obviously this goes in. If you have a woodpecker, you're gonna pound this in, give it some vibration, knock it loose, usually 15, 20 seconds per screw. 1, 2, 3. A lot of my guys get lazy, they don't do it. They regret it later because on their own time I make them drill it out. Okay, I have a big no-no on time wasters out of our yard. I've been doing this a long time, and it's usually just absolute laziness. So occasionally it happens regardless, even with a woodpecker. So it's not always that, but it definitely helps. So now real quick, I'm looking at these and I can already tell that these have probably had, unless this is just mag chloride buildup, which it could be, but these have probably been broke loose at one time or another because you can see a white ring around it. Means moisture has kind of got in there. Salt, something has got into it and created that white line. Okay, that's a good thing to have because they should break loose easier. Not the other one took me a bit. So, and then okay, that guy obviously you should know how to use tools. If you don't, well, then we're gonna have other issues here. But that guy goes on there, lock in place, and now the phone's gonna have to come down because I'm gonna put it into the hole here. Okay, wiggle it because there's paint inside of these often. This one, again, this paint looks like these have been down. So, and that's another reason I like these woodpeckers because it helps break through the paint layer. Okay, but regardless, you're gonna push, wiggle it around, make sure it's seated all the way down in there. Okay, and then what I want you to do is put your shoulder as close as you can to this door, right shoulder, left shoulder, depending on which, if you're ambidextrous or not, right hand, left hand. And then I want you to put some nice torque on this guy, right? Nice, slow, not break it short. You're looking just for a nice turn torque. So I'm not going to do it again because it's asking for it, but essentially this is the procedure, okay? And I wish I could show this. We need to get, something way to do this, but I'm going to show you this guy more than likely because I don't think this is going to tip up. Maybe it will, but probably not enough. Let's see here. And I'm likely going to be blurry anyway. So, okay, so maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but if you can, I'll know here in a minute. Okay, so I'm putting my shoulder into it. Oh, watch this brakes on me because oh, okay, perfect. That's what we wanted. So, and it's difficult, okay? It's not gonna be easy. So that one broke. I'm gonna do a couple turns out, get it to where it's, see, and that's, don't let it fall out like I did there because it will run these nubs off pretty easy or break your bit or round it off, okay? Okay, then the next one. Again, hopefully you're seeing this. All right, that one broke free real easy. Okay. Now, the other door, I only had to do it on the bottom because I could see the distance here was off. In the hinge itself, I could see it almost immediately. There we go, okay. Nice, deep breath of relief when you get them to break free because, yeah, I just sit there and go, which is it gonna be? I only have one T40. I wasn't planning on buying doors because they're super hard to get. Okay, and then this one got up. Again, you're probably looking at my kneecap or under my skirt. Just kidding, it's just pant or just short. So, anyway, on this one, I'm having to do top and bottom, right? You don't want to Do not pull the bolts completely out, okay? Then it's going to be another pain in the ass for you. Okay, nice and slow. You start seeing that, and this one, the paint has not broke loose. It's breaking loose as I do this. Start seeing that paint kind of give way. You'll start flaking, and yes, it's going to flake. So if you're hoping for, you know, not messed up paint here, it's impossible. You're going to happen. All right, that one came free real easy. Nice and clean. Got one more to go. Usually about now, the door's heavy enough that even with one tighten, the door will start slipping, and it is going to slip. It's not going to fall off because you got bolts in it, but it is going to slip here, okay? Oh, perfect. They all came loose. So we are money, you're golden, whatever your expression is. Okay, perfect. And that did it. So there's so in addition to, let me show you this. In addition to paint marks, oh, you know what I just noticed? I think I filmed this, so you probably look at your phone sideways there for a minute, so apologize about that, but maybe I can edit that later. Anyway, so in addition to having, there's your paint chips, right? In addition to having these, you're also now going to have an align, because there's going to be a paint here. When they paint these doors from factory, they paint them with the hinges on, which means you're going to have bare metal show up here. If you're in a rusty area, you want to cover that very quickly. If you're in a southwest, cover it eventually, right? So this one, I seen it right here. It's breaking loose. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to come back over here, and you know, what direction do you think I got to go here, right? So the door, the other one had to go down. This one has to go up. So once again, I got to put the phone down. Try not to get it sideways this time. And see if I can get it a little bit better shot for you, maybe. Let's see. Use my impact here. Well, hopefully that works. So, okay, I'm up on this trailer. Hopefully you don't have it. Now this is when a trailer's not very nice because you're playing with gravity here, okay? You just want to wiggle it up and look. Make sure your window's rolled down. Okay. Go up. And I'll tell you why this happens here in a second. That's kind of always wondered why this even happens. Alright, so I usually like to slam them because then you know they're fully good. But unfortunately, there we go. Wow. Okay, so all right, let me show you something here. Trick real quick, okay? Obviously, you don't want to slam this door when it's not fully lined, but get your lines up here, right, and hold it. Okay, so a couple things, right? What do you see here? Gap, gap. Okay, that's what it was off by, and it likely needs to go down in the front. See, if you look here, and you can do this more precise, but you can measure it. It's a little bit wider, not by much, but a little bit here, okay? So I'm going to wiggle the front a little bit, see if I can get it to come down just a little bit. Okay. Alright, now you see the paint's starting to come off. And again, you don't want it too much because it's going to drag. And if you have like a plastic or something, you can, that one's loose, that one's loose. Okay, so I think it's just a matter of, alright, so this isn't very usual, but it is another area that you might have to mess with. So I'm not going to do it here because I'm in a hurry to try to get home tomorrow, okay? But I'm going to show you here in a second. So this controls the door behind, and I'm going to have to get down because I'm almost positive you're not probably looking at me or looking at the door, which is more important. Not fall off this door either. Okay, so this is when it's nice to have an impact. Okay, I'm going to put this down just for a second here. Hopefully it's, I can't tell you how many times this is why GoPros and stuff exist, or film crew have you can look at our YouTube channel. Over 1,000 videos. We've been doing YouTube for far longer. And social media and all that stuff have been around. So I guess that's social media. So that's kind of a. Now notice I'm not wailing on this thing. Okay, I'm just. Now it's nice to have this impact right now because I'm still having to apply pressure over here, right? If I don't do that, if you have a second set of hands, you don't have to do all this. This is a little bit easier. You're doing this. My second set of hands is at the hotel because I want them to enjoy the time that we have, which is my wife and my 2-year-old. And I can use this. All right, right, so now this should be good, and we shouldn't be dragging anymore here. Okay. Now let me show you real quick. Now it might not be perfect again, and I can already feel it dragging a little bit when it came down, so it's going to have to go up a little bit more. But for our purposes, it's going to be fine there. Now, more than likely, I need to snug these. This already has closed, so might not have to do what I was going to do. All right, now let me explain real quick what you're dealing with. Behind these hinges, okay, there's like a floating nut in the doors, essentially, okay? So this goes in, and the door itself has a bigger hole than this is. And the nut obviously is bigger as well, like a nut washer kind of setup, right? So it's just allowing it to float, and it's built that way to have adjustment here. So your hole is, let's say, as big as this whole head is, okay? On all of these, okay? The same thing goes for these guys. There is adjustment here, and that's what I was going to come to, but it doesn't actually probably need it very much. You might need it a little bit, okay? These ones do not adjust very easily. This isn't where you're going to have much. There is a little bit here, but not much. But understand that if you mess with this hinge, you're also messing with your windshield frame. So I really tell people, don't loosen this stuff. Just mess with these. These are usually the only thing you need to do. If you do, come down here, mess with this one, and it's still not aligning, then you can mess with that one. But make sure your Jeep's somewhat together before. Like this one would be not very good to do it to, because I could do it and then I go to put a windshield frame on it and then I'm gonna have an issue. So, okay, this is gonna get me home in a bind that I'm in. Not a big bind, but sort of a bind. And it's gonna get us back on the road and down the road. So I bought these doors, didn't have a place to put them, didn't want to messing up the truck. We bought some hard top glass as well. And if they're banging around the back, that's another thing, okay? Then my phone's gonna die, so I'm gonna have to let you go. But if you're storing doors, traveling across the country with them, do not just set them in the back of your truck, especially flat, okay? If they're especially stacked, I mean, if it's one thing, if they're on their own, that's okay. But if you stack these doors one on top of another, especially with the cranks on the inside or something like this is kind of goofy. They shouldn't have done it this way, but anyway, it's gonna just continue to beat like it's being punched the whole time. And you'll get there and you're gonna have a pretty good sized dent in this thing. And these are not as easy to repair unless you take them into a body shop. You're gonna spend some money, some big dough fixing these things. So, but things that we look for right here, if you're buying doors, you get rust here, right? This is common in East Coast stuff. I still buy them, but I don't buy them for very expensive. And we have to go in and repair them. They crack here. So these need to be a little bit welded here. That's it, no rust repair. And of course my phone's ringing. And I bet it's my wife. Nope, Ethan. Hey man, hang on one second. All right, so I'm gonna let you go, but that's it. So partsbreakers.com, you're gonna see these parts up on our website here in the next few months. We're gonna do a big inventory, about to hit what we call more our slow season, okay? Then we'll get right back into it next fall. Tub's gonna be available. This will be discounted slightly for the damage, but again, rust free. Nice fenders on this guy. It's got a 4-cylinder motor that's already sold, and gonna have axles under it, 410s, and you name it. So I got some nice wheels. So that's it. Again, partsbreakers.com, Jeeps Unlimited, that's our legacy name. 303-666-9020. Really been a pleasure once again, and look forward to it.